the Travel Winds podcast. Today my guests are Johnny and Tommy Townsend. I'll get that name right. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us on.
I appreciate the time. Both NFL punters. That's kind of obviously a unique thing that two brothers ended up in the NFL for one, and then at the exact same position is even stranger.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the odds are on that, but it's got to be pretty slim, to have two brothers not only make it to professional sports, but also play in the same position. So, it's
at the exact same time. I mean, that's...
Yeah, that too. And that have played on the same team together before.
I was going to talk about that, because that's like, hey, bro, I'm getting COVID. I'm getting sick.
Yeah.
Why don't you come and fill in?
Yeah, it was funny. The fan base was shocked because they don't really leak much about COVID, outbreaks and things when players miss games sometimes. And it was short notice. So when I ran out there, Twitter was exploding. They thought Tommy cut his hair, they thought he moved his number, and it was funny. So.
And they're like, no, we just changed the number.
Yeah.
Just thinking I just had a huge identity crisis and just chop the hair, change the number. And
well, that'll happen at some point. You'll do a Kobe and you'll switch the numbers, and then I don't know about the hair though. You might have to keep it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's what a lot of people say. They say it's kind of a staple thing for me, but to be honest, it's a pain. It's a huge pain to deal with. But I mean, it's cool for the time being, but it's definitely not going to be a permanent thing. That's for sure.
I was going to say, it's a pain, but that's something you could change pretty easily.
Yeah.
Johnny would
just
help.
Quick little
right?
haircut. Yeah. I'm not sure how much I'd trust him with the razors, but
it won't be a razor.
Yeah, it's one of those enjoy it while you have it type of things. You're gonna blink your eyes one day and wish you had locks just flowing down your
exactly.
head.
Yeah.
Wait till you get to my age and you'll be like, oh.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where as soon as I cut it, I'll be good for like a couple days, and then I'll look back and I'll be like, dang, like maybe I shouldn't have, but it's gonna happen. So I just gotta prepare myself for it.
Or just let it keep going, man. Just see how long you can go.
I'm pretty deep into it right now. I'm like 4.5 years in growing it out. So, but yeah, I get it cut like every 6 months or so. So I actually just got it chopped right now. I got like 4 inches cut off. So it's like really short for what I'm used to having. So, but yeah.
It's a summer length.
Yeah. Summer length. Yeah, exactly. We'll go with that one.
So how strange is it? I mean, you guys have played on multiple cities, multiple teams. It's kind of the nature of the NFL.
Mm-hmm. The free agency has become one of the biggest pieces of the game in the NFL, especially the last couple of years with COVID. There's more shuffling parts than most people can manage. Fantasy football has got insane because of all the free agency going on in the NFL. My first year, I was with the Raiders, and I sat in the locker next to the one that would constantly be transitioned. So I'd make a friend, and he'd be gone in a week, and it was kind of one of those in and out type of lockers. And so that's just the nature of the league. I've been fortunate enough to play a lot, and I've been all over the country, so I'm enjoying it.
I'm just curious. What's a long term at an NFL team now? Like 3 years, 5 years, 7 years?
Yeah, well, the league average is through 2 years, something like that.
2.5 or something.
2.5, 3 years. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. Just it's definitely a tough league. A lot of things have to go right to play for a long time and to play with the same team for a long time. When people ask me about it, I mean, a couple things I say is 1, you have to get the opportunity. 2, you have to play good. 3, the coaches have to like you, and 4, the front office has to like you. 5, the money has to work. So there's so much stuff that goes into it, and just a lot of things have to go right to play for a long time in this league, and that's what makes it so difficult. So it's just one of those things. Any opportunity you have, you just kind of have to take it and run with it.
Well, and then 6 injuries, right?
6 injuries, yeah.
I mean, you're one curve away from stepping off a curb the wrong way and tweaking your knee, and I mean, I was like for me, like in a corporate job, we don't have to worry about that. You know what I mean? It's like I don't have to worry about blowing my knee out or as long as I can talk, I'm good. So as long as I don't get a sucker punch in the throat. But I mean, is that nervous for you? Do you guys think about that kind of stuff? Like, oh man, I better not go skiing or.
Yeah,
it definitely
all the time.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely things that we're limited in our lifestyle of what we can and can't do, just based on like risk factor.
Yeah.
Um, like I've always wanted to go snow skiing, but I've never gone. I've never gone. And it's something I've been able to do like the past few years, but it's one of those things. It's just like it's hard to do. It's hard to like let myself go do it. So
Yeah. Like, is it worth it? That's why I just don't think people that watch football on TV understand that. Like you guys are one step away.
yeah,
Yeah, most contracts will have restrictions in them like that, to where, hey, you can't be doing extreme sports, you can't do this and that. But yeah, you'll actually see that in writing in some contracts, which is interesting.
That's got to be something the agents have to negotiate, I guess.
No skydiving,
yeah,
things like that.
yeah.
Skydiving
Yeah,
wouldn't
I'm
be
pretty
that
sure.
bad.
Like, I think skydiving would be a lot of fun. That's something I've always wanted to do, but yeah, I feel like that's something that might not be in,
The future.
or that might be a restriction, I guess. But I've also heard like motorcycles is something that we can't do or ride. So,
Well, I would say
um,
snowboarding, skiing, yes, motorcycles. Yeah. You guys got to watch your knees, right?
yeah,
Got to watch your legs.
yeah, just take care of the legs.
Okay. As a previous, and I showed you before we went on, but I was a long snapper my senior year. Begrudgingly, I was a long snapper. I didn't want to be, but my best friend, who was a long snapper, did a compound break on his hand 3 weeks before our opening game, and so the coaches came to our practice and said, "Hey, can anyone long snap?" And since I had been working with him all summer, I'm like, all right. But it's punting, any of the specialty things. You guys are no one talks about you if you do great, right? But if you flub it, you'll get a lot of press.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things you just don't really want people to really know your name.
Exactly.
But social media is becoming, well, at least that's how like it usually is, but social media is kind of becoming, I don't know, social media is a free for all as is, but it's at least like now starting to allow like social media pages and stuff like that to post highlights. So now like people are getting,
Yeah.
recognition for things they do well, but to be fair, on the other end, like giving them that exposure for doing well. If they do bad, then that just opens up, so many more people to saying, hey, that guy just,
Yeah.
crap the bed. So
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, people are pretty negative by nature. I don't know if you know people
yeah,
very well, but so if there's something that goes wrong, there's also a lot of money on these games too. So if you
I
do
know that's
something wrong in a
ridiculous.
game, that's when you hear about it. That's when
yeah,
yeah.
I only flubbed one
yeah,
snap. Back in my day, the snappers were fair game. So we'd have 2 or 3 guys just pile driving me into the ground. As soon as I snapped the ball, they would just hit me, like just nail me. And so I got stepped on and hurt my hand. So I flubbed the one snap on the next punt, and I got pulled really quick because my hand was just swollen up after I got stepped on. But it's the only time. It's the only time I ever got credit. It's like, yeah, you flubbed a snap, great. So
yeah, it's tough. Just like Johnny was saying, like so my rookie year, we went and we played in the Super Bowl. It was Kansas City versus Tampa. Unfortunately, we lost, and like Johnny was saying, a lot of people put money on these games, and a couple people found my Venmo and sent me some Venmo requests for the bets they had lost. So
yeah, like
so
it's
of course,
your fault.
so like I had to just like switch up. I had to switch up some of like my Venmo info, but I was thinking about just saying screw it and just like sending them and just being, you know what, like screw you, like whatever.
Here's a penny. Yeah.
Yeah.
They should have complained against Tom Brady.
Yeah, that was
I think he had more to do with them winning than you.
yeah.
That's just
Yeah.
my
Should have
take.
sent a few to Tom Brady. Yeah.
Exactly. So what are what are your favorite cities to play in?
I thought
As a punter, I mean, if you go to Denver, Mile High, do you get a little more?
see I'd probably say that's the number one place that people ask me about, like, oh, like you probably love playing in Denver, like this and that. I've played there twice. My rookie year, it was middle October, about week 6. and it was 16 degrees and snowing.
Yeah.
And then
You're
we
kicking
played
a
them.
rock.
Yeah. And then we played them, and that was the coldest weather I'd ever played in, like up until like that point in my life. And of course, like a bit of a rude awakening coming into Kansas City,
Yeah.
from playing in Florida. But yeah. And then this year we played Denver late in the year again. So it was another cold game. So I really haven't gotten the chance to really experience mile high in like prime conditions. But you definitely can tell the ball does carry a little bit more.
You start getting 5 6s on miss hits. Like,
Yeah,
hey.
we can go with that. We can go with that, sure. But yeah, I mean, any dome is nice, but
Yeah.
but I mean, the big thing is the stadium doesn't really matter. It's all just on the weather. Look at the game like last year, is like early in the season, the Bills Patriots game in Buffalo. They showed the clips of the kickers and punters out there, pregame, and Jake Bailey's one of the best punters in the league, I'd say. And it's watching the clips was just like, I just felt terrible.
Yeah.
Just trying to punt the ball into like these like 50-mile-per-hour gusts. It's just like, it's madness. So, but yeah, it just depends on the day. Cause I mean, you can go to Buffalo and you get that weather, or you can just go and get lucky and just like have like a nice, like calm day. Like it just really depends on the weather. So I don't know if it's so much the stadium.
Do you guys look at that beforehand? I mean, like during the week, are you looking at, hey, we're going to Buffalo, what's the weather going to be like on Sunday?
Yeah. I have an app on my phone that checks like the wind.
Yeah.
And just kind of like gives me an idea of like, what the gusts are going to be, like what it's going to be kind of like a constant, constantly like blowing at. So that's something I always check. And I check that before I go out to practice too, just to kind of like get my mind right, like going into it. I don't want to go into any scenario where I'm shocked with like what the weather's going to be or like what the wind's going to be. I kind of like to know what I'm going into.
I was going to say, like, have you ever thought about freezing the ball? You know what I mean? Like putting it in a freezer. That way you
Put
get
it
used
in
to
a
kicking a
freezer.
rock. I mean, you guys are from Florida. It's like you never had to worry about that growing up.
Yeah, we never had to worry about it. I mean, honestly, as soon as you take the balls outside, like when it gets cold late in the year, you take the balls outside, like they'll freeze up in a couple minutes. But that's one thing that does make a big difference is the air pressure. And they were talking about like Deflategate, however many years ago that was.
Yeah.
But in those really cold games, the ball pressure does change. And even today, when we went out on the field and we were kicking this morning, when the balls are sitting out there in the sun, like they expand, the air in there expands, and the balls get way like overinflated. So, but you kind of need like a happy medium between like you don't want overinflated and you don't want underinflated. Like there's a happy medium in there that you want to hit.
Do punters have different happy mediums? Like,
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I don't like flatter balls because I tend to like over compress the ball as is. So I like them just slightly more pumped up. And I think when they're slightly more pumped up, it allows you to hit like a tighter spinning ball. So that's good for, windier conditions, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Johnny likes it. If he likes, pumped up or a little flatter. Yeah.
No, I like a ball with like a little give to it, in my opinion. Because I already like naturally hit like a really tight spinning ball as is, and when it is more inflated, it tends to not really press around your foot and just kind of spins off a little tighter. So it is better for those windier conditions, though. I like to try to hit those really tight spinning balls, kind of cut through the wind, and when the ball's a little more pumped up, it helps with that for sure.
Yeah, because when I snapped, there were balls I liked and didn't like for snapping, but it was all whatever the kicker wanted is what he got, right? But is there how intricate do you guys get? Like if you go, hey, can you change out the balls during the game, saying if you're at your own 20, you want a long ball, long height. If you're kicking from your own 40 and you want to put it inside the 20, do you change balls based on that, or is it just?
No, unfortunately we can't.
Johnny's smiling.
Yeah, I wish. But yeah, so like what the rules have been, and I was going to touch on this. Yeah, what the rules have been is you get each team like breaks in 3 balls, and the home team gets the first pick of the ball, and then away team gets second pick, and it alternates back and forth until there's 3 balls. And usually, say you're the home team, usually the one ball is the best ball. Like, you want to have that being thrown out on the field. That's like the most broken in ball you can get. But yeah, the guys that break in the balls, the equipment guys, they get like, I think it's like 45 minutes or something like that. It's like breaking 3 balls, and that's work. Those balls, when they're brand new, I've broken in a handful of balls myself, and it's tough. But we actually had some issues this past year with balls that were kind of like misshaped, and the seams were a little swervy. And so, there were a bunch of guys around the league that had issues with those balls. And I guess like the everyday person doesn't really know about this, because it's not big, like talked about thing. But so at the PA meeting, this, I guess like a few months ago, everyone came together, and I guess they sent a letter to the competition committee and talked about how there was issues with the balls. So now what they're going to do is they're going to switch it up and kind of do what they do with quarterbacks. They're going to give us a handful of balls at the beginning of the week to go through and pick which balls we want, and we can break them in for the days leading up to the game. Yeah. But what's going to be really interesting is, like, where do they draw the line on how broken in a ball can be? Yeah. So, it's going to be an interesting year to see how that goes.
Well, maybe because there is so much money tied into each of these games, that every kick, every extra point, every field goal makes a difference. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I know you can't say this, but I'm going to ask anyways. What? No, I can't say it. I was going to ask you, well, what city would you like to play for, just having as a home? Like the Raiders now play in Vegas, and they're indoors basically. Mm. That would be nice. But is there a place where you go? Miami would be cool. Jacksonville, because you guys would be closer to home. That type of thing.
There's definitely some great NFL cities. We're currently in Nashville doing some training. I was brought to Nashville playing for the Titans last year, and that was one of those cities where as soon as I got here, I just fell in love with it. Great people, great city. It's young, it's up and coming, it's fun. Great sports teams, great fan base. So there are cities like that. Like we're in Nashville training right now in the off season, and I've just kind of stuck around here ever since I left the Titans.
That's cool. What you guys see? I mean, you're in the NFL, but the USFL's coming on pretty strong. I mean, it just gives more opportunity for you guys to potentially play. I mean, it's not a matter of if, it's when you stop playing in the NFL, right? I mean, no one plays forever.
Yeah, I think having a B league like that is great for professional football. That's something they've been needing for a long time. Not necessarily a feeder league, just it's hard to get exposure, and there's so many guys that come out every year from college and they just don't get the opportunities and get the tape. And now they're restricting all the preseason games in the NFL, so a lot of those rookies don't get to put a lot on film. And just having a league like this is just really healthy for the NFL. So hopefully one of them can stick around. I know the XFL's coming back next year too. So
is it really?
See those guys butt heads and see who kind of takes the throne for the that kind of other team. So
that's pretty crazy. So, are you guys still on? Are you currently on teams? I don't know what the proper terminology is.
Yeah, so I'm going into my 3rd year in Kansas City. I went undrafted out of Florida to Kansas City. So I just got signed on a 3-year deal. So I'm going into a big year right now. So. Hopefully go put up some big numbers and hopefully stay in Kansas City for a while. But we'll see. It's a crazy process, and you never know what can happen in the NFL. So just trying to keep my head down and stay after it.
Johnny,
it's a long process for sure. I was drafted by the Raiders out of college. I just finished my 4th year playing the NFL, and I'm going through free agency now. So I'm trying to find somewhere to land. So we'll see where it is. I want to be somewhere where I can kind of stay long term and just have the opportunity to play. So
I don't think people understand, like, a normal fan, like you guys are measuring everything. Like the hang time is really key. Like whether it's a 4.85 or a 5.31 or, it's very specific. Like you guys aren't just like
it's
kicking the ball.
Like analyzed on very detailed. There's so many little factors that go into it from an analytical perspective. Just the metrics, all the numbers, the hang times, the distances, the directions, and there's outside factors that can affect our personal performances, how our teammates can get down and cover the punt. There's so many things that go into it.
Your snappers,
Yeah, gotta have a good snapper.
All right. Yeah, like I was saying, there's just so many factors that go into it. In a subcategory of one of the factors I was talking about, just playing well. Like there's a lot of things that go into it. Like Kansas City is a very, very, very tough place to play. It gets really cold. It's really windy year round. So, it's like, it's interesting how, you get evaluated on that. And I'm not even sure if that's something that, I get evaluated on, for example, like versus somebody that like punts indoors.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Johnny was saying, like the teammate thing is huge too. Like I had my punt team this year was unreal. My gunners just did a heck of a job, and just the entire punt team was just making crazy plays for me like all year. Um, I have to contribute as much credit as I can to them. So
well, you're also the holder, right? On extra points and field goals, and that's a whole different job in itself.
Yeah, it really is. We put a lot of time into that too. A lot of people probably just think we just go out there and just slap the ball down and just kick it. But we put a lot of time into the operation, the snap and the hold and the kick, obviously. But yeah, just always working on trying to, get like the laces right, trying to get perfect laces and on the snaps. And I'm always trying to, get the hold down right on the exact precise spot and do it with speed, try and get the ball down fast so Harrison can see it for a long time. So yeah, it's a lot of moving parts.
That's all the crazy stuff that like I said, I didn't know any of that. I played 10 years of football. I didn't know any of that till my 10th year when I ended up being the long snapper. And it was like, oh, you're going to stay for 45 minutes after practice and just snap. Like snap. And oh, let's do extra points. So let's do field goals. Let's do it at an angle. Let's do it flat. Let's do, let's go back at 8 yards instead of 7.5 yards. And
right.
It's like,
yeah, it's a lot of work. People don't realize the tedious hours that go into it for sure.
Yeah. My holder in high school was Jimmy Ray, and last year he played 2 years as a wide receiver, and then he was with the Lions for the last 3 years. But he's a office administrator. And he was a college recruiter for San Diego, the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Browns. He's traveled administratively as much as the players have. It's like you get a new coach. Well, he wants a new staff, so now you're gone. So I've talked to him a little bit about that. Is it how do you guys? I don't think either of you are married, but how does it affect your personal life? Not just dating, but like your family. I mean, you guys are you could be gone next week. You could be fired. You could be, how do you set up a personal life around the NFL?
Yeah, you definitely have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. You never know, when you're gonna have to move, and you're always, kind of just somewhere temporarily. Even if you have a place that you call home in the off season, there's really only like 3 months when you're there, and late winter, early spring, and then a month and a half in the summer. Yeah. And then you're living in a hotel for half the year during OTAs, and then training camp, you're in a hotel for a month, and then a season. So you're kind of just living a really like true nomadic lifestyle.
Oh, when you were at the Raiders, you stayed in your camp was in Ventura, right? Or Camarillo, Oxnard?
I was at the Napa actually.
Oh, okay. You moved it
up
there.
We got to spend 2 weeks and it's almost three weeks in the heart of Napa. So
that's not bad.
That was a real fun experience. Yeah, all the local wineries around there would invite us for tastings, and some of the premier chefs in the world are located there, and they invite us for cooking classes and all this interactive fun stuff around wine country. So it was just really cool.
That's pretty. Where's the Chiefs camp at?
So we're up in St. Joseph, Missouri. I think the college is Northwest Missouri State. I think it is. That's in St. Joseph. But yeah, so we go up there and we do training camp up there, which is really cool. There's a pretty neat setup. So we stay in the dorms, the college dorms there, for the duration of training camp, and take golf carts over to like the football facility and yeah, just down to the practice facility there. So it's a pretty cool setup, but there's nothing out there in St. Joe. So we're pretty isolated. Yeah.
Which could be good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it was interesting. I had I haven't had two. Well, I guess I've only played 2 years, but I haven't had the same training camp. My rookie year was the COVID year, so we ended up having training camp at the facility in Kansas City, and we had meetings in like the geez, I'm not sure what you call it, but like the club level. So we would have these big spread out meeting rooms in there, and we'd take elevators up and get in golf carts and drive like around to like the different club areas to like for different meeting rooms, because everyone had to be spread out. And yeah, it was very interesting to have training camp at the facility. But then, you know, it's a big switch up this past year when we were able to go back to St. Joe.
Actually, I don't really forget. I never even thought about the COVID stuff, how it affects you guys. I mean, that's got to be a trip. Like, I don't know, like traveling, because you guys had to travel. So, I mean, it was testing, constant fear of getting COVID, and then just.
Yeah, it was always the testing every single morning before you step in the building. It's always I don't know, like 30 minutes to 45 minutes of like, yeah, well, we were able to go in, luckily. Early on we would have to wait for the results, but you know, like this past year, for the most part, we were able to go in the building, but it was always just like sit and wait. And if someone got like called out of the meeting room, be like, oh, like, hey, like you tested positive, or hey, you were a close contact with this so and so. And it was always kind of nerve-wracking, but yeah.
And now hopefully with the traveling restrictions being lifted, and I mean, my daughter lives outside of Knoxville, and so we'd fly into Nashville, and she's like, I haven't had my mask for a year, and like I'm in California, so like we just got rid of them 3 weeks ago. So I'm like, woohoo, you know, but we go to Nashville to have fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's crazy the difference in the States. Because like back home in Florida, like we've been without masks for
ever.
For just about ever. So yeah, it's super interesting. Especially me and Johnny spent some time out in LA around mid-February, and it was crazy, just like the difference of just everyday life, you know, between Florida and California.
Yeah, and then even like Tennessee was the same way. We went there in December for right before Christmas, and it was great. I mean, like we'd go to Broadway, and we're like, oh my God, like we can eat in a restaurant with no mask. We can it's totally different. Totally different. Do you like playing at the Titans Stadium?
Oh yeah, I love playing there. It's real neat because all the sports teams, their stadiums are located around the action in downtown Nashville. So you can walk from Titan Stadium straight across the bridge to Broadway. You know, the hockey team is right there. Bridgestone Arena is right on Broadway. So everything is just really centralized.
The soccer stadium's right there too.
Yeah, it creates such a unique environment, and the fan base definitely gets rowdy. You know, they have, you know, plenty of time and plenty of, you know, opportunities to go tailgate and do their thing and come in the stadium, and it's a real fun stadium there for sure.
Yeah, that bridge. I mean, I was there. I didn't go to the game, but I was there the weekend of a game. I forget who you guys were playing, but that bridge is like packed with people walking from Broadway over. I mean, it's well used. It's not a It's not just a piece for furniture. It's actually I mean, like thousands of people are walking across that.
Thousands. Yeah, it has a similar tailgate atmosphere to some of the stuff that we've seen. You know, me and Tommy played at Florida, and, you know, playing in the SEC, you don't find many stadiums anywhere in the world that are, you know, as rowdy and, you know, just the way they are. Like playing in Death Valley and LSU, playing at the Swamp, like nothing compares to that. So, you know, even when you get to the NFL, you can't really find many stadiums that can, you know, kind of duplicate what we experienced in college.
Well, and like I can tell you, like the Raiders, they don't have a parking lot right now. So there's no tailgating. I mean, there's literally not a park. I mean, they have I think 3,000 or 4,000 spots, and it's mainly for the players and the staff and all that. So they have to walk across. They actually they park at Mandalay Bay across the freeway, and then they shut down the road, and it turns into a walk bridge.
Oh, what? Interesting.
Well, they're trying to buy the land around it to make parking, but now that everyone knows that, so everyone that owns that land around the stadium wants crazy money for a lot.
Right.
So
yeah.
But you're right though. But the environment the Raiders is a different thing altogether. Did you like playing for the Raiders?
I did. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I spent my time out there when they were still in Oakland.
Yeah.
I didn't go to Vegas with the team, but yeah, that was, I mean, we were still playing on the baseball stadium there. We were the last team in the NFL playing on the baseball stadium. And it was literally the infield clay was like concrete.
Yeah.
Had little pebbles all over it. And if you see a guy get tackled on it once and come up with his arm just shredded.
You're like, oh.
It was some old school football for sure. Playing in a baseball stadium. So
would that affect, like, when you're punting, obviously, I mean, the skidding on that, I mean, on grass versus it just connecting on the dirt and it going a mile high.
Yeah, because it's real dry out there, especially those day games. They water it before the game and then at halftime, but it dries out so fast. So there was a couple punts I remember where I'd start in the grass and my plant would be in the clay.
Yeah.
And so you'd be slip as you're going into your plant step, you would slip as you're trying to stick it in the ground. And it's definitely a tough playing surface. And then when you're trying to hold a football on it for the kicker, I mean, you could hold it as, securely as you want, but it's still kind of rotating it's like on concrete. So yeah.
That's another thing. Like, I just don't think people would understand. I can tell you, I did a pre-walk of Raider Stadium before it opened up, and with the general contractor that was building it, and the amount of time that they spent on the type of grass being used is literally, they built they had 6 different types of grass being grown at the same time on a flatbed that would get rolled in and out like it would for the game. And so Mark Davis would watch, the owner would come and see how the grass was growing and how he wanted it to be grown and all that, and I'm like, oh my God, like, okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. Honestly, the grass in the new Raider Stadium in Vegas isn't like the best. It's a lot of like seed grass.
Yeah.
So it gets torn up really easily. So that field just gets absolutely shredded. And the grass isn't very deep. So a lot of guys slip on that field. So it's like, it ends up like, especially late in the year, it just ends up being like a lot of like just painted sand. So hopefully they can figure out the grass thing, because, Arizona had great grass when we played there.
Yeah.
And they do the same thing, but I guess to be fair, they've been doing it a little bit longer than Vegas has. But yeah, Vegas is just a lot of that seed grass, and it's just really like kind of like slippery and like squishy kind of ground.
And it's amazing because they have turf underneath that. So there's a turf field underneath that grass field. And that's what UNLV plays their football games on the turf, and they only use the grass for the NFL games.
Oh, interesting.
So that whole thing is on a roller. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on that entire field rolls outside, and then they play on the turf for practice.
Oh, and then there's turf like underneath that, the thing that rolls.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah,
interesting.
So, if you could play any game in any location, what would it be? Like, what would be like your total ideal?
Like ideal conditions or environment?
Everything.
Geez, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like, just any warm day, clear sky, no wind. That's about like as good as you can get. I would take a calm day outside over a calm, like warm day outside over a day punting indoors. I'd take it over that any day of the week. Also, I feel like sometimes indoors, the lights just kind of like just reflect off everything like really weird. Like the lighting is just not the same as just having like natural like natural sunlight. So there's a bunch of just like really weird things that, like, I don't know, kickers are just kickers about. So for me, one thing is like the lighting. I feel like, so there's some stadiums that the lighting's just weird. Like New Orleans, like I felt like it was a very, very like dark stadium to play in.
Yeah.
And yeah, because like from what I remember, just like everything around me, like all the seats and stuff were black. So everything just seemed like super dark. But
I know, like,
I think Miami has a really, really cool stadium. The Cowboy Stadium that's a little bit lighter because they have those huge like windows and stuff, and so the sun can come in and be pretty bright. But
does that scoreboard affect you though?
The only time I've ever played there was I think it was my junior year or redshirt sophomore year of college, but that's when Johnny was still at Florida. So I didn't even get a chance to play, but we were just sitting there just smashing balls up towards the Jumbotron pregame, just trying to
hit it.
Yeah, it turned into a game, and so we were just trying to see if we could hit Jumbotron.
Yeah. Were you able to?
Oh yeah, we hit it a couple times.
Yeah. I've heard of a couple of guys kicking it. That's
yeah. Yeah, I think Brian Anger hit it a few times this year in some games, which is it's kind of funny. But
well, I know a lot of the Super Bowls are, they're held in Miami, they're held in Tampa because of the weather.
Mm-hmm.
So would that be like an ideal situation for you guys, just having your family being that close? I mean, you must have had a lot of people at the when you played Tampa.
So we had very limited amount of tickets for that game because that was the COVID year. So we only had a few tickets. So it's just kind of my immediate family that was there. Yeah. Just a few members. Yeah.
We'll have to get that started up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got to go to the Super Bowl again and make sure it's close to home.
For sure. I know. Right. Yeah. I think it's Arizona this year, but, which that'll be a cool spot. But
yeah. So what do you guys have going on? I mean, I know you got the foundation. You just did the spring game. I think Tommy's got one coming up, right? Do you have your own? What's going on?
So that's another one of Johnny's. So I haven't really done much from a foundation standpoint personally, but yeah, I just try and like help out Johnny when he puts on events. I try to just help do what I can with whatever he needs, whether it's just transporting stuff or whatever, just being around and greeting people or doing whatever. When Johnny has events, I try and just be there and support it that way. But yeah, Johnny's got one coming up in Nashville. It's actually tonight, and he can speak more on that.
No, it's been a really fun process. It's something I kind of just fell into. I was involved in some community service programs in college, and that kind of just snowballed into me launching a foundation and giving back and using my platform to support that same hospital that I would visit when I was a college student. And yes, it's been fun. It's rewarding. It's just we're finding ways to provide people with the best experience possible and kind of raise awareness for the cause. And we're hosting some great events. We hosted one last year in Orlando, raised just about $65,000, and we're using 50 of that to renovate a healing garden at the pediatric hospital at my college town. And yeah, so we had an event last week at the University of Florida. We called it the Spring Game Tailgate. We had 85 former players come through from the University of Florida. Guys awesome. Like Coach Steve Spurrier was there, Kyle Trask, who was a quarterback there now with the Buccaneers, and had about 300 people come through. So we had a silent auction that just concluded on that today, and then we got an event in Nashville. So yeah, we're all over the place.
Do you have anything coming up after this Nashville one?
I don't have anything planned. No. Yeah, I try to have my events kind of middle spring.
Yeah.
Kind of a time when there's not much football stuff going on, and I have a couple months to plan the events. So I hadn't really planned much after this Nashville event, but I'd like to try to do something late in the summer.
So. Yeah, I mean, obviously it all depends on how the tryouts and free agency go, right?
For sure.
Yeah, I think Johnny deserves a little bit of a break. Because he's been planning nonstop, and he's been at his computer all day, every single day, and it's not even an exaggeration. Like there's days I can't even get him to go to lunch with me, or I can't even get him to go to dinner with me, or whatever, just because he's sitting there glued to his computer, just absolutely grinding, trying to get these events sorted out, and just running all over town, just working really hard to just make sure that these events are as good as possible. So after this one tonight, I think he deserves some time off, and then
break
before he gets back into planning his next event. So,
what's the hardest part about setting it all up? Is it just time?
It's like building a business. In all seriousness, it's something that's happens from the ground up. I don't have any staff. I don't have much assistance. My dad helps me out with some stuff, but it's kind of been a one-man show. I've had a lot of support, but logistically, I've kind of handled all the relationships that I've built around the foundation, and in terms of planning the events and supporting them, it's kind of been a one-man show. So, I have some plans to, now that we're really scaling to the point where, we can pay, people to help us and officially file for the 501c3. We've been operating from a fund just because it's easier from a tax perspective.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it a family affair and try to bring, as many people as I can into it and make it more interactive. So
we'll get some Vanderbilt interns or something like that.
Yeah.
They won't. I mean,
I'm very particular about, how things operate. So I like to be on top of a lot of stuff. So I choose to handle it myself, but
exactly.
I could use some help sometimes for sure.
No, I mean, my daughter, when she was in college, she interned a whole bunch. She was here in Los Angeles area. So
yeah.
Yeah. But you'll have to learn how to let go a little bit.
For sure. But it's been rewarding. I mean, we have a lot of fun at these events that we put on, and we raised a ton of money for the pediatric hospital. We're making a true impact there. We're starting to really, really see it. So yeah, it's just rewarding for sure.
That's awesome. We're doing this because of Nirvana Water. How's that relationship been with you guys?
It's been great. We actually just finished up a 4-hour shoot with them this morning. Yeah. But it's been great. We're all behind the brand. We love the products, and we're excited about, the projections for the future and all the stuff they have planned to release, all the different beverage lines and things like that. And it's a product we can, definitely get behind. We love it.
How do you not get behind a good water, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's like the biggest difference between Nirvana and these other water companies is they just have so many different products and they're all effective in different ways. I feel like some of these other companies, they're just kind of water companies. They're just like a name in water and that's it, or like a flavored water and that's it. But this company Nirvana, I mean, it actually has stuff that works and it's scientifically proven. And they have multiple different beverages and they're coming out with more that are just going to be even better. So like Johnny was saying, I'm really excited for the future of Nirvana and everything that they're going to release and kind of unfold.
It works out. I mean, are you guys always going to go after brands together?
That's kind of been our approach, I guess.
Yeah.
Recently, we've just kind of been like a duo when it comes to this Nirvana stuff, which I think is really cool. That's because cool. Like we were saying earlier, it's the position we're in is super unique. I mean, just from the standpoint of one, we play the same position and we've made it to the NFL and we've played and we've also played for the same team in the NFL, but we also played for the same team in college. So I mean, it's funny how there's so many just like random little unique factors about our relationship.
Well, I mean, and you guys can appreciate it's a great story, and that's kind of what you need for a punter, right? I mean, you're not getting a lot of, unless you mess up, there's not a lot of press for punters, right?
Yeah, so definitely.
It's using the brother thing's a great storyline. I like it. How can people find out what you got going on with the foundation, Johnny?
Yeah, I would love for people to follow along on this journey with us. We got a lot going on, and I'm going to be posting a lot more updates as these events conclude, just to kind of recap and share more about where exactly the funds are going and things like that. But I'm primarily on Instagram at Johnny Townsend Foundation. That's where I share the majority about the ongoings, and also on Facebook at Johnny Townsend Foundation as well. I think that's where I'm going to be posting the majority of the stuff. I'm not really active on Twitter, but Instagram and Facebook, Johnny Townsend Foundation. You can find everything about who we are, what we do, our mission, who it all benefits, and how you can actually get involved. So yeah,
I'll definitely put the links on my website, so that'll help. Anything for you, Tommy? What's the best way for people to follow you? Instagram or?
Yeah, just Instagram. I've got like Twitter. I'm not huge on Twitter. It's something I don't know. I just don't really post too much. I don't have too much to say, but
it's probably safer.
yeah. There's just don't have too much to say. Just, just post some casual updates on there. But my primary is just my Instagram. And that's just Tommy_Townsend. And just trying, good, clean fun on there.
You guys, you should make some TikToks, man.
I've been kind of holding out on TikTok. I made it all the way through COVID, the entire lockdown, the quarantine, all that stuff. I made it without downloading TikTok, and I still haven't gotten it. So, but to be fair, I am a little guilty. I've been watching the Instagram Reels, so that's kind of doing it for me. But I'm kind of just trying to stay away from the TikTok.
I haven't gotten into it. You can have some fun ones with the boomerang and all that. You can have some fun ones punting.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've had some requests about.
What's that?
I had some like really kind of random stuff. It's not really on brand or like, it's just kind of just a bunch of random videos and things. But It's a great platform. It's really powerful now too.
Yeah.
You can generate a massive social following behind it, and it's definitely something that people should get involved in.
Well, it's a bizarre thing. TikTok is, I mean, you can blow up because of one video.
Yeah,
it's bizarre, in a good way, I guess. But
sometimes bad.
But the punting things, you guys could definitely. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, some like trick shot videos and whatnot. Yeah.
Show people. I tripped out watching some of your videos on like your timing every hang time. Like, and they had one coach is just pumping you guys up. Hey, that was great. And walking towards the angles and cutting off, and that's the stuff I like seeing. Yeah, that's a 4.85, but it was 45 yards, and I don't know. You guys, I couldn't believe how specific it got.
I'm glad that you understand it.
Yeah.
Most people don't. Yeah, I'm glad you understand it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, even like for us, and I'm sure you can appreciate in high school, it was just get the ball down the field, kick it as far as you can. Like we weren't worrying about inside the 20 and angling and not too much. I mean, my punter ended up being a first baseman for the Royals, and
oh no way.
So he was just punting because he had a really strong leg. There was nothing specific behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just go. So
yeah,
I appreciate the time, and good luck with the foundation. It's tonight, you said?
Tonight, yeah, downtown Nashville. Got a great event planned. So yeah, tonight will be the last one for the spring. So
perfect. So good luck this year. Have a great summer. Is there anything else you guys want to push out? Or I mean, I think we'll get people following you on Instagram and Facebook and all that.
For sure. Yeah. Again, just to recap, we got a great foundation going on, benefiting pediatric hospitals now going to be all over the country. Started out in Florida, but we're expanding to Nashville. We're going to hit some other markets, but I'd love for you guys to follow along with the journey. Johnny Townsend Foundation on Instagram and Facebook. Going to be posting updates about, all the projects we're doing, all the events we're hosting, and what it all benefits.
That's awesome. Keep doing a good job, man. That's better than just playing football.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks, and have a great summer, guys. Appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for having us on. We appreciate you.
Thanks, Tommy. Thanks, Johnny.